Some awaiting trial inmates in Nigerian correctional centers may regain their freedom. A group of young lawyers are volunteering to represent them in court. The young lawyers say it is their contribution to decongesting correctional centers in Nigeria. Lillian Ezemak reports.
Trial prisoners are indigent inmates, those without anyone to support them financially. They're often forced to remain in prison for a long time, even beyond what would have been the punishment for the offense they're accused of, yet without trial. Most of them are young. According to Network of Legal Aid Institution, 70% of total prison inmates in Nigeria are awaiting trial. Also, dozens of juveniles are held in adult prisons in the country. But this group of young lawyers are thinking differently. Their goal is to represent at least 1,000 detainees in courts free of charge. Co-founder of the group told me how she began to empathize with the prisoners.
The first time I actually understood the scale of the problem was when I was doing my law school externship. So there were cases of people that were charged with criminal offenses that were brought to court, but their matters kept being adjourned because they didn't have lawyers. And personally, I felt really disturbed by that, especially because I saw a lot of children that were being brought to court and taken back to prison because they had no lawyers. So in 2018, myself and my friend, we co-founded the project, and the idea was that if we're able to provide adequate legal representation for people like this, then we'll be able to resolve their matters in court as quickly as possible.
Inadequate finance is an obstacle to achieving the set goals, but this waste recycler keys into the vision. This is where Waste for Justice comes into play.
We decided that we're going to use a pool of young volunteer lawyers for this purpose. But we know that it's beyond just providing pro bono. We need to provide some form of incentive for the lawyers to be able to do the job. So we provide the lawyers with an allowance to cover transport fare for going to court to represent these people. We started by, covering this cost out of pockets, and we got to a point where the scale of what we need to do is beyond just what we could afford from our pockets, and we've been thinking of creative ways to fund what we do.
We're not asking anybody for money, we're just saying support us with your trash, right? Give us your trash, not your cash. So if you can give us your trash, we will be responsible as a recycling company to convert that into money, because we've ascribed a value of 30 naira per kilogram, and then whatever proceeds come, right? If someone gives us 10,000 tons, then we can support the 1,000 detainees for a year, which is excellent, So we're hoping that not only do we support these detainees, these pretrial detainees, but we also at least get rid of 10,000 tons of recyclable waste from our environment. Right now, we were talking about beating plastic pollution. We're talking about, the fact that, by 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. We're talking about so many issues that are coming up with the environment, but we're also looking at the social side of things, where there are people who are unfortunately languishing in jail for either no offense or little offense, and they haven't had their day in court to say judge. So again, we're hoping to be able to marry these two together.
The recyclable wastes include newspapers, PET bottles, broken buckets, cartons, and electronic waste such as batteries. The lawyers pledge to make judicious use of the funds.
We're a team of young lawyers who want to cause a change in the society. We have no intention of swindling with funds or anything. What we want to do is to make sure that nobody suffers or remains in custody for longer than necessary.
At the end, Nigeria is better off with the two-pronged initiatives: cleaner environment and social justice. In today's fast-paced world, a do-it-alone approach is not the best strategy for growth. That is the reason the young lawyers and waste recyclers are collaborating to improve each other's business outcomes. Lillian Ezemak, TVC News, Lagos.